Will Wade, of course, is LSU's men's head basketball coach. He's entering his 5th season here with the Tigers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coach, last year, another very nice season. You reached the second round of the NCAA tournament. You lost a few players, which we expected, Javonte Smart, Trenton Watford, Cameron Thomas. But, man, you have replenished your roster in a hurry. And the latest news is 5-star center Efton Reed, who signs with the Tigers. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, excited about him. You know, we talked about taking that next step, and we lost in the round of 32 to Michigan really because of the attention we had to put on their big guy Dickinson. And so we did a nice job on him because we had 2 and 3 guys around him at all times and didn't let him score in the post. But when you do that, you give up a bunch of kick-out opportunities, and Shondi Brown and some of those guys really hurt us from 3. So we weren't able to play one-on-one and win a one-on-one matchup in the post, so we had to put some extra bodies down there. Efton allows us to, you know, he's big, he's physical, he moves really well. He's 7 foot, 7'1", 240, 245 pounds. He can move laterally. He can move up and down the court. He'll allow us to play one-on-one against really good post players and not put us in rotation where we give up all those threes. So it's the one thing we've been missing. You know, we came in, you know, the year we won the league, we had Cavell and Nas. The last couple of years, we've still had very good seasons, but we hadn't been able to win the league because we just haven't had that big guy that can help us at the rim. And getting Efton was a huge step for us to continue to progress and take that next step to be an elite team.
He comes from IMG Academy in Florida. He averaged 16 points, 11 rebounds last year. He was ranked the number 4 center in the country by ESPN. Is he a unique player? Do you have anybody that you would compare him to that you've had here at LSU?
Oh, he's kind of a mixture of Nas and WAP. A little bit of a combination of those two guys. Moves kind of like Nas, has some of the perimeter skills that Nas has that touch that WAP had down low, being able to throw it in the post as well. Can move defensively. You know, he's not a shot blocker in the sense like Cavell was, but he can block shots and affect a lot of shots as well. So, you know, he's a combination of a lot of the bigger guys that we've had. But, you know, there's a reason he's such a good player. There's a reason he's so well thought of. He's an unbelievable talent. You know, we've got to polish some things up and bring some things out of him. But he's a tremendous talent, and he's a great kid. He's an unbelievably hard worker. He's excited to get here for summer school to start and get to work and get going. And so, just looking forward to getting here and working with him and continuing to improve the skill set that he has. He's had great coaching with Coach Myers down at IMG. He had Coach Kassab, who I've known a long time, his coach at Stewart back in Richmond. And so he's had great coaching, and you know, he's going to be well prepared to step in and help us from the get-go.
Coach, what statement does it make to the rest of the country that you are still recruiting at this high level?
Well, I mean, I think we've established that, you know, we've been able to get kids and get them out. Tremont was in and out in 2 years. Cam, one and done. You know, Trendon in and out in 2 years. And so that's what guys are looking for. As it relates to Efton, it was really, you know, what we've done with Nas, what we've done with Trendon, and that's what they look for. And those guys all talk. I mean, you know, Efton reaches out to Cam to ask how it is here. Like, all those players always talk. And so it's important that, you know, we have good culture, we've got good kids, and they always speak well about our program, and that helps. A lot of our guys help us in recruiting when the kids reach out because they all know each other through social media and going to tournaments together and things like that. Sometimes they tell me stuff. Trendon will call me and say, hey, such and such is interested. He reached out to me. Do y'all have any interest? Like, it's amazing how the kids interact, and that's why you want the guys to leave your program in a good place where they feel good about it, where they can help sell the program.
Some of the other new players you've added, Tari Eason, a 6'8" forward from the University of Cincinnati. He averaged 7 points, almost 6 rebounds, 1.3 blocks. He had a game against Tulane, a state school. He had 20 points and 13 rebounds. Is he going to be another physical force that you can match up with Efton?
Yeah, really excited about Peso. He's a great kid. or I'm sorry, Peso's his nickname, Tari. But he's an awesome kid. Today's actually his birthday.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
So what? Give me the nickname. Where that is there a story behind that?
His mom gave it to him when he was younger because he was money from the basketball court. So the Pesos kind of stuck. But he's a tremendous worker. He works out 2-3 times a day. Back in Seattle. The thing that drew us to him is honestly he's a player when he went in the portal we didn't know a whole lot about. We run an analytics report on all the players and we kind of get some numbers back and see what it says. And his numbers just jumped off the page at us. It was one of those deals where he, if you extrapolate his numbers out, he played 18 minutes a game. You extrapolate those out to 28, 30 minutes a game. He's one of the top rebounders. He's one of the top offensive rebounders in the country. He's one of the top shot blockers in the country. He'd be top 5 in the country in block shots, top 10 in the country in offensive rebounding. And those are two areas that we obviously need, that we value and need some work in. And so when you looked at it, you went, oh my gosh, this guy just jumps off the page at you. And luckily we had a couple connections. We knew a couple folks who knew him and his mom, and we're able to work our way in there. But he's somebody that we're excited about. He's kind of like Emmett on the court with how he plays. Now we're going to develop. Emmett shot 42% his sophomore year for us from 3. They didn't take a ton of them, but he shot 42%. We're going to develop that perimeter game with Tari, and he can really expand his game here and play in a little more free-flowing offensive system. But he's somebody that he plays really hard. He's got a tremendous motor.
I remember your first year here when you were really grinding through it with that first team, and we talked a lot about rim protection, right? And it's going to be a layup line. I remember that was one of your famous lines that I used to laugh at. But so it looks like you're getting back to that rim protection.
We got to have somebody to protect that rim, even if you're not blocking shots, just affecting shots, making people shoot from 4 to 6 feet, not 2 feet.
Yeah. I remember sitting courtside when you guys played Yale in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and Cavell Bigby Williams blocked like 3 shots in the opening moments of the game, and those guys were like, "Nope, we're not driving in anymore." That was
no. It makes a big statement when you got somebody down there where you're not going to give up easy baskets.
Yeah. Adam Miller, a 6'3" guard from Illinois, certainly a powerhouse basketball program. He averaged over 8 points, almost 3 rebounds. He started all 31 games for those guys. Apparently a very good outside shooter as well, made 52 3-pointers, which led all of the Big Ten freshmen. What about his addition to the Tigers?
He's somebody that's very versatile. He can play with the ball. He can play without the ball. He played mostly without the ball at Illinois this past year. Really respect him, respect what he's done. He sacrificed a lot for Illinois' team. You're talking about a top 30 player, McDonald's All-American caliber player, Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois. And he gave up a lot for Illinois to be successful. And, he's just a tremendous person, first of all. He runs a youth camp in Peoria. He had his youth day a couple of weeks ago in Peoria where he holds a camp to help kids out and show kids a path forward. And he's an awesome person. The biggest thing I think he's going to help us with is leadership. He can bring some leadership. He's been a part of a winning #1 seed Big Ten champion style program at Illinois, and so he can help us with leadership. He wants to help with leadership. He's talked to me about that a lot. And then on the court, he's just he can really score. He's a lefty. Shot 34% from 3. He's in the process of changing his release point, getting a little bit higher release point. He's been working out twice a day to get that right. And I think he's somebody that's really going to shoot in the low 40s for us from 3. He can drive it, create. When we were recruiting him, I do a statistical analysis, and I said, I think you can get about 2.5 assists. He said, no, Coach, I'm going to get 4 or 5 assists a game. So he wants to get other guys involved, keep the ball moving, and make sure that he's taking great looks and getting great looks for other guys. So we're looking forward to getting at him.
Javonte obviously evolved into his role and did a great job for you for 3 years, and now you've got Xavier Pinson, who transferred in from Missouri, 6'2". He averaged almost 14 points a game last year, almost 3 assists for Missouri, and the Tigers did make the NCAA tournament. What about his addition? Well,
we had to replace some guards, and he's somebody that when he went in the portal, he's an all SEC caliber guard. You can't lose out on that if somebody like that is in the portal and ready to go. And him and Adam have known each other for a while. same area, same AAU program. So there's a lot of connectivity with those two. But I love Xavier's speed, his athleticism. He is a basketball player. I mean, he works out 2-3 times a day. Every time I talk to him, he's in the gym, getting in a workout, getting out of a workout. He's going to, part of what drew him to here is, I think, our player development program, what we've done with some of those guys, how we go about our player development, how we go about helping our guys get better, helping our guys improve. And so, I thought it was important as we transition. We got to have somebody who is a known facet for doing it in the SEC. He was top 10 in assist rate. I think he was 7th or 8th in assist rate in the SEC. He scored 14 points a game in the SEC. He played on a winning team. All those things are important. Adam comes from a winning background. Xavier comes from a winning background. Tari, they had a decent year at Cincinnati, but he won a state championship over Paulo Banchero, who's going to Duke, his last year in high school. Efton's won multiple state titles and won big at IMG. They were 28-1 this past year. So you want guys that come from winning programs. Jarrell Colbert, who's come and won a state title in Tennessee, and Murray was part of that team at IMG. So you want guys that have won, and Xavier's won at a high level in the SEC. So I think that's really important.
Awesome. Darius Days, it seems like that's still up in the air, whether or not he's coming back.
Well, I think he would prefer, he'd obviously prefer to stay in the draft and go to the NBA. If that's what the feedback is, he's in the process of gathering the feedback, and we're helping him any way that we can, and we're going to support him with whatever decision he makes. But he's certainly going through the process with the intent of staying in the draft and going to the NBA. But if some of the feedback comes back where maybe that's not exactly where he would land, I think he would be open to coming back, and we would certainly welcome him with both arms.
I always liked him. I just think he's a real good, upbeat, great young man, shoot from the outside, does dirty work on the inside. It seems like in today's modern game where so many guys want to go pro immediately, those are the kind of guys you can build a winner with.
Yeah, he's a positive kid. He never has a bad day. He's always flying around. He's always practices hard. Everything he does at a great pace and with a great spirit to him. And, it'd certainly be nice to have, a veteran, a guy who's been here for 4 years and seen things. And, he could be one of the all-time winningest players at LSU if he were to come back. But at the end of the day, we encourage all our guys, man, you got to do what's best for you and your family. And so whatever that decision is, if that's to go pro, if that's to come back to LSU, whatever that is, we're going to be 100% supportive of it.
Along with Efton, you've signed 3 other high school signees. Brandon Murray, who was Efton Reed's IMG teammate, right?
Roommate. They were teammates and roommates.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, at a big time school like that, you got roommates and stuff too, right?
So. Yeah, they had you could call one and get the other.
There you go.
You got 2 for 1 recruiting.
Killed 2 birds with 1 stone, no doubt. Just tell us about him.
I'm very excited about Murray now. He's physical, he's tough. He's as good of physical freshman defender as we'll have. He's ready to go. He can score it. He can shoot it. He's somebody that's got a college-ready body. He's got a college-ready game. He's somebody that I think can step in and really, really help us from the get-go. But Brandon he's very mature for his age. He wanted to do the prep year. He didn't need to do the prep year, but he wanted to do the prep year to continue to get better, to continue to work. He gets in and gets extra shots up every night in addition to doing his workouts. He's probably the most competitive kid we've recruited here. He competes in everything, and he is unbelievably competitive. He goes extremely, extremely hard. The one area, you'd rather tell people whoa than go. But the one area, we got to be careful of is he's going to foul because he's just so aggressive. He's so aggressive. But we're very, 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 very excited about him, and he's going to be able to help us from the start here.
Jarrell Colbert from Germantown, Tennessee.
Yep, Houston High School. They won a state championship. He almost had a triple-double in the state title game. He's one of the top 5 shot blockers in high school basketball. He's long, he's rangy, he's athletic. He's really come on the last 3 or 4 months. He's been very, very talented for a long time. He's just now really putting it together and getting it together, which there's no better time for us as he transitions into college and transitions to to LSU. But very excited about him. He's a big-time defensive presence. He can make things happen on offense, both outside and inside. It'll be great. We'll have him and Efton going up against each other in practice, and it'll be good. It'll be good for both of those guys. But Jarrell's somebody who's who's going to be able to really contribute and really get after it from the start.
Coach, I heard you on Jordy Culotta's show this morning. You were talking about Alex Fudge, maybe as a guy who hasn't gotten enough recognition to this class.
I talked to Fudge this morning. He got out of his 8 a.m. workout and called me. He's back in Florida. He hadn't even graduated high school yet now. He's walking his high school graduation at the end of the month. So he's going to be 3 days late to summer school to walk in his high school graduation. Now he's graduated on paper, but he wanted to walk with his classmates. So, so you're talking about just turned 18. He turned 18 last week, so he's really, really young. I'm glad we got him here. He had to have a couple surgeries, but boy, when he was in practice, he is an SEC athlete, run and jump, block shots. He's probably our best shot blocker in practice. He can make things happen. It's just, and we talk about it every day, it's just going to be a matter of how consistent we can get his jump shot and how quickly we can get that jump shot consistent. And one thing about him is he's going to work. We got a culture of guys who are going to work, and he's a really, really good worker. But it's just going to be a matter of how quickly we can get that jump shot up to SEC speed. But I'm talking in the open court, dunking, offensive rebounding, playing hard, blocking shots. He's got all of that right now.
Coach, you've got a lot of great names here on paper, a lot of stuff to be excited about. But as I think I heard you recently talk about, we've got to put it on the court, right? And so what's the challenge between now and, say, late November when you tip it off for real in terms of working on team chemistry and getting these guys to play with one another?
Yeah, I think, last year we didn't have a summer, so it made it really tough with the COVID. And we'll have much more of a normal summer. We're going to, do some more team building stuff that we couldn't do last year and last summer. And so there's a bunch of things that we're going to be able to do to try to get the guys close-knit, get the guys tight. Everybody in college basketball is going through it. That's you're not building a program anymore. You're just building an individual team each year. That's just the way it is. And we can disagree or not like it or whatever, but if you try to build a program, you're going to get left in the dark. So you got to build a team every year, and you've got to get those teams together. So we've done it before. It was kind of what we did at Chattanooga both years. We turned the roster over 8 players each year at Chattanooga. We had a lot of turnover at VCU. When you're at those type places, you get used to it. And we're used to it. My staff's used to it. We've been through it, and we've got a plan to get that cohesion and get that chemistry together. But I really like the blue collar nature of our group. We do have some highly touted guys, some highly rated guys, but we've got much more of an edge and blue collar nature to us, and I think we've got a little bit more. We're going to have a little bit more teamship to us as well. So. We'll develop that and work on that throughout the summer and throughout the fall, but I'm certainly excited about the opportunity that we have ahead.
Coach, sometimes I feel like watching football and basketball and these other sports that the concept of team is under attack with this transfer portal and all this other stuff, but these are just the rules. You've got to play by them. You've got to find a way to win, right?
It's the rules of engagement. you've got to adjust to them and figure it out. And the ones who adjust the best and can handle it the best are the ones who will win the most. And so you've got to be able to do it, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. There you go. Well, this past year with the COVID and everything, it kind of taught us not to complain too much and be thankful for what we have. But certainly I was thankful you guys got to play and had a great year. Then you go to the PMAC and there's 2,000 people in there or whatever, not the energy of the Deaf Dome that we felt in years past. What was it like coaching through a year like that?
It was interesting. I felt bad for our guys because they work so hard, and part of the fun is to have the crowds and have the energy. If you think about it, we had, Texas Tech, Auburn, Tennessee coming down the stretch in February, all on Saturday afternoons. There'd have been 14,000 in there for every single one of those, games, the Auburn, Tennessee, Texas Tech games. It had been absolutely packed and absolutely rocking for all those games. And, you're just disappointed that the guys missed out on that. We appreciate the fans that came. I thought there was a couple times when we beat Georgia at home, I thought the crowd really got into it down the stretch to get us into overtime. There's a couple times that we really needed the crowd, and the crowd came through. And I thought the students, they started letting more and more students in, I think, as the year went on. And I thought that helped us. But there certainly is something to home court advantage. And, it flipped when you're on the road. It was much easier on the road than it typically is on the road, especially on some of those Saturday road games. But, you're disappointed for the guys that they didn't get to experience, how much fun all that is. There's nothing more fun than playing in a sold-out arena at home or on the road on a Saturday in the SEC. That's as good as it gets. So, it was interesting, but we adjusted to it and we made the best of it. And like I said, I thought the fans that came did a great job and were awesome. The students that came were awesome. We missed the band. Dr. Jones and those guys, man, they do an unbelievable job. Bringing some energy, bringing some spirit. Those guys are the best. They're loyal. They're always there, and they bring great pop to the arena. And so we missed all those. We missed all those parts. But hopefully we'll be back to normal and back up and running this year.
Yeah, I likewise kind of felt bad for the students. This had to be the most boring time to ever be in college. That one night you played Alabama, there was a line of students from the front door. It went down the concourse of the PMAC. It went around Mike the Tiger's habitat. I mean, all these people wanted to get in, and I guess only a small fraction of them got in. But
the lucky ones were the ones that didn't get into that game.
Never seen it. Great job, Coach. Great sense of humor on that night.
The lucky ones didn't get in that game. They may have thought they were upset when they were wrapped around Mike the Tiger, but after about 5 minutes into the game, they were happy they were in the dorm room and could turn that thing off. Go do something more productive with their time. I wish I could have walked out about 5-6 minutes in.
All the success you've had, I mean, do you have a night like that every now and then, no matter how much you prepare and everything? The other team, I mean, those guys couldn't
Yeah, they did a great job. I didn't have our team very well prepared. I had our guys so scared of the three-point line. We talk about being aggressive, being confident, and being loose, and we weren't very aggressive. We were not confident, and I had us playing really, really tight. And so I did a very poor job preparing us for that game. Now, give Alabama credit. They played great. They had one of the most historic shooting nights you'll ever see in the SEC. But, it is the best shooting night in SEC history. But I did a horrible job preparing our guys.
Nate Oates, he's a fiery guy, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
To go up against?
Oh, yeah.
The end of that SEC tournament championship, there was some comments about that, maybe.
That don't bother me. Hey, shoot. Look. He won. They beat us. They beat us 3 times this year. He can crow all he wants. There's nothing we can do about it until we got to do it on the court. But he did a great job with that team. There's a reason he was SEC Coach of the Year. A reason they won the SEC. They had a tremendous team with Jones and Petty and those in Shackelford and Quinterly and all those guys. And we gave it our best run that last time in the SEC tournament. It was a heck of a game. Maybe one of the best college basketball games of the season. Yeah. Got to give them credit. They had a great year.
The 2021-2022 schedule, how's that shaping up?
It's done.
It's done.
So we got all that done. The final contracts are in, and so it'll be a challenging schedule. We've got some really, really good home games. We've got some NCAA tournament teams at home, and we've got a tournament over in Destin in Niceville at the arena over there at Northwest Florida with us and Penn State and Oregon State, who made the Elite Eight, and Wake Forest. We've got some in-state foes. We're playing, Monroe. We're playing Northwestern State. We should be playing McNeese as a part of the tournament over there. We've got some really good. We got a really good neutral game in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. We've got some really high-end home games. We're playing Lipscomb at home, who's a very good program. We're playing Belmont, who won the OVC last year. We're playing Ohio, who was a 13 seed in the NCAA tournament. Last year we're playing Texas State, who won the Sun Belt regular season last year, and so we've got some really, really high-end home games, and then we're playing Louisiana Tech in Shreveport at the arena up there. So that's something we've really wanted to do. We were supposed to do it last year. We wanted to get out and get around the state and showcase our program around the state. We went to Louisiana Tech after the tornado, yeah. And then we've really wanted to go over to Shreveport, and so we appreciate Coach Conkle and Tech. Making it happen, and Russ Potts Productions. Those guys did a great job, getting the game together.
The tournament in Florida, that's like a Thanksgiving thing?
It's over Thanksgiving, yep.
Gotcha.
We'll be there over Thanksgiving.
Awesome. All right, so we're about 2 weeks into Mulkey Mania here in Baton Rouge. Kim Mulkey, LSU gets it done. They get Kim Mulkey to become their new women's head basketball coach. There hasn't been this much buzz about women's basketball since they reached 5 straight Final Fours. The last one was in 2008. What's it been like to kind of interact with her? And so many LSU fans are excited about you two being the two faces of the basketball programs here.
Oh, she's been awesome. I mean, she's she's going to get things done, and she's going to win. I know she's, give her time and all that. Her time, she's moving quick. I'm just telling you now. her time runs like our time runs, very, very fast. But I mean, she's been tremendous. She's got great vision. I mean, she can come in and look at something and say, boom, 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 boom. I mean, she's got tremendous vision. She's got tremendous staff, tremendous people from everybody that I've met and that we've met. And so I certainly look forward to working with her, learning from her, picking her brain on things. But tremendous coach, tremendous ambassador for LSU, for Louisiana. I think it's just been awesome, and the best is yet to come. I think there's no doubt she's going to deliver on her national title here at LSU and make us a very, very formidable basketball program.
And there's been a lot of talk about how she's going to be such an asset in terms of fundraising. And the PMAC is always a topic. I think it's still a great venue to watch basketball. I think even the seats at the very top, you're pretty close to the action. But there's always talk about, luxury suites and this and that. I mean, where would she fit into all that if there was a new arena, and how would she fit in? How is she fitting in right now?
Well, I know the day after she was hired, we got $100,000 from one of her friends up in North Louisiana for our facility. So, she understands what we need facility-wise, and we had a meeting actually on Friday with the facilities folks to go over what we can do maybe within this space and adding some things. And so, she's on top of it, and we're gonna, we'll go out and fundraise and do what we need to do to make this happen, to make sure that we have a world-class facility for our basketball programs. I know a lot of stuff gets talked about with the PMAC. The bigger issues are practice facilities and the stuff that we use every day. I mean, I agree with you. I run the concourses like when it's raining like it was this morning. I was running the concourse this morning. I think, certainly there's some amenities probably you want to widen it, and there's some revenue opportunities you're missing with lounges and premium seating opportunities because the arena's a little bit, it's aging. But at the end of the day, for a game day, it shows well. Like you said, it shows well on game day. The scoreboard, the seats look nice. You pull it out. It looks good for gymnastics. It looks good for volleyball. It looks good for men's and women's basketball. Like, it shows well on game day. It's aging on the outside, but the inside, it shows pretty well. I'm sure we'd love to have, better concession stands and more amenities for fans and that sort of thing. But it shows pretty well the actual guts of the inside the arena. So that's not as, that's important, but that's not as important as getting our day-to-day functionality and our day-to-day ability to work better. And I think Coach Mulkey understands that, and we'll work together and do what's best for her program and our program as well. Well, the actual practice gym is as good as you'll have. It's got great space. It's almost got too much space. I wish we had taken some of the space and put it in a locker room that we use for the practice gym, and put some stuff in a weight room. But the actual gym part is tremendous. The court we're sitting on now in the women's court, you're not going to find anything better than that. The problem is there's no offices, there's no weight room. The locker room areas are very cramped, to put it nicely. Yeah. Our players' lounge is very different than most players' lounges. It's the day-to-day stuff that your players that your players deal with that is more of the issue than the thing. But the great thing is we have enough space over here. There's space everywhere. We just need to reconfigure the space we have. I'm not sure we've got to just go crazy and build all this stuff. Yeah. We've got to reconfigure the space that we have, and we can get a weight room. We can get offices. We can get different things over here and redo the locker rooms. We have a ton of hallways, and we have a ton of different areas that we can take that space and make it work, nothing's cheap, but we can make it work at a solid price. And so I think that's what we're looking at now.
Maximize the dead space.
That, and just, Coach Flory and I are close. Our volleyball needs some help too. I mean, their locker rooms over here, their practice gyms down in the dungeon. I mean, they need, if men's and women's basketball can work together and we can do something for, let's say the women's locker rooms across the way. If you move the women's locker room over to where their practice facility is, then we can put offices over here because we don't have to use this as an entrance. Then we can expand our training room, and then you can give volleyball the women's basketball area, and now they've got a nice locker. There's a lot of different things you can move around, and we have the space. We just have to use the space much better than how we're using it now.
Gotcha. I understand. So you practice. When you're done practicing, you got to walk over there to go up to the building, go to your office.
You got to do all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Team wants to lift weights. They got to go to the laundry room or football or whatever.
So there's but we have the space, which is the good part. We just got to reconfigure it and use it properly.
Got you. And then the students at the PMAC, for years they were along the sideline. And then it took this big effort to move them behind the goal. And then now I'm hearing, well, we don't like them behind the goal. We want them back on the sideline again. You have any opinion on it?
I mean, I tell you this, when we go to Auburn and they got those students down there, it's wild now. Those Auburn students are down on the floor. Yep. And it adds to the atmosphere. But I think our students do a great job. I wasn't here when they were on the sides. Usually it's going to be tough to move them back to the sides. If I were guessing, you've got a lot of people that pay good money for those seats, and so I think it'll be tough to probably move them. But that's maybe something, if you ever get to reconfiguring the arena, that's maybe something that you could certainly certainly look at. But Auburn and Ole Miss, I think as well, has the students on the side. And Ole Miss doesn't have them going all the way across the side like Auburn does, but both those guys in their new facilities have the students down there. But our students do a great job. I kind of like them down there by the opposing team.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Coach, one thing everyone agreed with was a nice adaptation this year is you took those darn media from down low and you stuck them way up at the top.
Well, Kent wasn't real happy about that. Kent was freaking out about putting the media up there. I said, Kent, just feed them a little bit better food. They'll be all right. Give them a little bit better food. Give them a little bit better food, and they'll be all right.
I was fine with it, but that did not happen. It was boxed sandwiches each game.
You didn't, because of COVID, you didn't get to see our new spread. You're going to have a great spread next year.
The coaching shows at TJ Ribs and the food's going to be coming.
You're going to have a great spread next year with your new seats up top.
A couple things I want to go down memory lane with you real quick before I let you go here. So I've had the privilege of being at a lot of different press conferences over the years with a lot of different coaches, and there's some press conferences that are legendary and they stand on their own. March 14th of 2018, your NIT press conference after you beat the Ragin Cajuns.
Yeah, we're not scared. Let's be clear about that. We ain't scared. Period.
Has gone down as a legendary press conference. At least 2 or 3 memes have come out of that.
You been under a rock?
Are you living under a rock? Have you been living under a rock? And we play in an arena, not a gym.
By the way, we have an arena, not a gym.
Coach, what was your thinking behind the final timeout?
Well, since they don't get to play us very often, I thought they should enjoy and sit there and enjoy the opportunity to play us.
Did you have any idea that night when you kind of went off that would just become what it's become?
No, I was mad. I've been sitting there listening to everything all week. And I'm not the best at biting my tongue, but I'd been sitting there just listening. I was not happy, and so no. I had no idea it was going to go like that. Now it was about as intense of an I've been in a few NIT games. About as intense of an NIT game as you can get. But no, it's crazy. I still have people to this day that come up and talk to me about the game or talk to me about the press conference or say that's when I knew you were our coach, I had no idea it would go like that.
And the funny thing is you didn't really know much about the Ragin Cajuns.
No, I knew nothing about this supposed rivalry and all this. Like I knew nothing about any of this until that week. I knew none of it. I didn't even think about them. Whatever. There was some Belt school in Lafayette. It didn't even really occur to me. And then, I got a crash course there really quick.
It was on fire. If you wanted an NIT game to get national exposure, certainly.
Well, we accomplished that.
It got more exposure than the Final Four, whoever won the NIT that year. I don't remember. But, second, I just want to talk to you about the 2018-2019 team because I've had a chance to see a lot of great teams here, but that team in particular, in your second year to win 28 games, to go 16-2 in the SEC, Tremont Waters, Skylar Mays, Nas Reed, Cavell Big Williams on down the line, go to Kentucky, win at the buzzer. Just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the most impressive thing to me about that team is we went 9-0 on the road in the SEC. We lost 2 games at home. They were both in overtime, but we lost 2 games at home, but we went 9-0 on the road in the SEC, which showed our grit, our toughness. We made some big-time plays on the road, but we had great players. We really got it together. The turning point in that season was between the Houston game and the St. Mary's game in Las Vegas. We really got our team figured out. Our guys got it figured out. We played tremendously against St. Mary's. That flipped the season and really allowed us to go forward. I think that Tennessee game that year at home was about as, I mean, you've been here a lot longer than me. That was maybe the best atmosphere we've had since I've been here. That was an 11 a.m. tip. God forbid if that had been at night or something. I thought that atmosphere was as good as we've had here, and so it was a special season, great players, and we had a lot of fun.
The Vanderbilt atmosphere was.
Yeah, I couldn't comment on that, Jock.
That was. Whew. The former athletic director walked into the building, and it was like 14,000 snakes. It was. Whew. Very supportive of you.
I appreciate that. I love our fans.
That was a heck of a year. Do you have any, like, man, if I would have coached them in the SEC tournament, or I would have coached them in the NCAA tournament, it could have even been better than what it was?
Well, you never know. I mean, I may have screwed something up before that too. I mean, you just never know. Certainly, you don't like to break the continuity of everything. That makes it tough. But the guys handled it really well. But I mean, who knows? I could have screwed something up in the Maryland game. I could have screwed something up in the Yale game. You never know. You can't look at it. You can't look at it that way.
Yeah. And Michigan State was clearly better.
Superior team.
Yeah. That coach over there, he's pretty good. John Rothstein, this guy, he's college basketball's hungriest insider on CBS Sports. Every time you win a game, every time you get a recruit, he always tweets, "Will Wade, American gangster." Do you know this guy? And do you see this?
I know Rothstein. I told you I'm not on Twitter, so I don't.
Neither am I at the moment.
I think that's something he started. He kind of gives everybody nicknames or whatever. I think that's something he started back when I was at VCU, or I don't know. I don't know when it started, but I do know everybody. All the coaches know John. He's on top of everything in college basketball. He'll tell you stuff about your roster you don't even know about your roster, and so he's on top of things. But I guess it's stuck.
Tony Montana, Will Wade.
I guess it's stuck.
Kent Lowe, what's it been like to work with Kent Lowe? I don't know if there's a sports information director who is known by opposing students, fans, and embraced.
He's the best. I can't wait. I was lucky enough he invited me to his induction. It's like 2 years now we've been waiting on this. In June up in Natchitoches in Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and so I mean he's the best. He's the best. He was out at softball. I was out at softball on Friday. He's out there working softball. He went with softball to NC State after our season ended. He loves softball. He's done color for softball. He obviously did the state bowling. I mean, he's the best. He's always positive. He's always, he's always there for us. I'll never forget. You talked about that game at Kentucky. We were waiting for him to do the review. Kent's at the scorer's table and he's keeping the book. And he could hear what was going on. And before the referees told us, Kent slapped the table. I'll never forget it. His pencil popped way up in the air that he was keeping the scorebook. And he said, "We won, Coach, we won." And I was waiting on them to give the play. He's like, "No, we won, Coach." And I gave him a big old fist bump, and we went and shook hands. But he knew before. I mean, he slammed that table so hard the pencil flew off the table at Kentucky. But he's awesome. Our kids love him. Our guys love being around him and joking around with him. And he's fun. He's fun to be around. And he is the best at his job. He's the best at his job in terms of knowing every stat, every historical perspective of everything that's going on. I mean, there's nobody better.
I'll leave you with this. You're entering your 5th year, as we talked about. Has this job lived up to your expectations? How gratifying has the job been? How much have you grown to know Baton Rouge, the people, boiled crawfish, maybe things you didn't partake in?
I love it. No, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. You know, there's nothing more as we go into this 5th year. I mean, the Final Four's in New Orleans. That's where we got our sights. Bring this thing full circle in New Orleans next April. But you know, I love Louisiana. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the food. You know, I wasn't born here, but the people here are just the absolute best. And you know, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been gratifying. Hopefully, we've been a source of pride for folks in the winter that you know that you got something to tie you over after football. And we want to continue to build, continue to keep that consistency going, continue to represent LSU and represent the state in a first-class manner.
Will Wade, I appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.